Hello, welcome to this AAACN podcast. My name is McLeod, and I'm from University of Michigan. I am the chair of the AAACN and Lippincott Task Force. I am here to present to you on how to review a Lippincott procedure. So first, I'd like to do a few housekeeping chores. We would like all your revisions to be completed in track mode. If you're unfamiliar with this, all you have to do is open up the document you're going to want to revise. It will be in a Word document. Go under the Review tab. Once you're under the Review tab, you'll find Tracking Group. Click Track Changes. It will automatically highlight those changes for you. Then you can insert, delete, move, format, insert graphics, do whatever your heart desires. We would like each reference superscripted. So what we want truly is that the reference is hooked to the source for the revision. Now, if you don't want to superscript it, as long as it has a number next to it so that we can relate them to each other, we're fine. But for those who want to superscript, or maybe just want to learn a little bit more about superscripting, I have a slide here for you. So superscript refers to numbers that are positioned slightly higher than the text on the line. So how do you do this? Well, in your Home tab, what you're going to do is you're going to click in the font group and then click Superscript. Now make sure you have what you want superscripted highlighted. The other option you can do is press Control, Shift, and the equal sign. Before you begin your review, or how to begin your review, the first thing you want to do is a literature search to identify any new evidence. You should only be using reputable sources, such as primary sources. Now, many of you who are actually reviewing are writing, and you already know what primary sources are. But just in case there are some of you out there just reviewing, primary sources are the actual research articles or information from regulatory bodies. Some of those can be the CDC, the AAA, Centers for Medicaid Medicare. What we don't want is that you use secondary sources such as Wikipedia or WebMD. So even if you do not make any changes to the procedure, we want, and you looked at some references, we want to know what references you looked at. Feel free to review them and put them in the additional reference section. It helps verify the accuracy of the procedure. And if someone's reading through the procedure wondering where we got the information from, we'd like them to know that we actually looked there. The next steps will be to critically review each section of the procedure. There are multiple sections. We want to make sure that the procedure is clear, current, and evidence-based. If it isn't, revise it, and then provide a reference to the source. So starting with the procedure title, yes, right down to the procedure title. Does the title make sense? Is it clinically accurate? Can the reader easily find the procedure if they're searching for it throughout the Lippincott procedures? Provide some revisions if necessary. Look at the equipment section. Critically assess the list. Make sure that all the equipment is still available. There might be additional options to some of the equipment that you might be able to mention. Just try and stay away from those commercial or proprietary items. If it's appropriately used in the implementation section, revise as needed. Reference your source. Preparation of equipment. Now this section is optional. It's designed for instances when equipment is prepared actually before performing this procedure. It's optional, but what we need to know is it needed in there if not? And what's in there should it be? We want to make sure that all the steps for preparing the equipment is proper. We want you to revise the section, cite the source as necessary. The implementation section, make sure that all the steps appear in the order in which the person who's performing them can do it step by step. If they aren't, reorder them. Actually, you could try and walk through the procedure yourself in real time to see if it makes sense. Also, ask a friend who has not done it, or even a friend who's done it, to walk through it. Does it make sense to them? If you make revisions, make sure they're consistent throughout the whole procedure. Of course, we want the content to be clear, current, and evidence-based. If not, revise it. Provide a reference for the source. Superscript if you can. Special considerations section. This provides additional procedure-related information that isn't necessary in the step-by-step portion, but might be relative to the procedure. Now, we want to make sure that that information is evidence-based. If not, revise the section as needed. Cite your information. Patient teaching. So this isn't actually the teaching you do for the patient. This is actually the teaching that the person doing the procedure needs to do. So is there some self-care knowledge that the patient's going to need to have? If so, those are the pieces we need to teach. Look at that. Are there things that you need to put in there? If so, revise the section. If it's not in there, make sure it's evidence-based. Cite your revision. Documentation. Does the documentation section contain all the key elements that the person needs to document after performing the procedure? Revise it if necessary. Make sure it contains the elements required by the regulatory bodies, not institutional bodies, but regulatory bodies. Cite the source of your revision. References and additional references. Update any existing references with the ones that you used. All references, or at least research, should be leveled according to Melnick's hierarchy. Any new ones? Please add them. APA format, please. Quizzes, read through the quizzes. Do the questions make sense? Does it reflect the information in the procedure? Does it reflect teach back? And what I mean by that is the best way to assess learner comprehension, and this is evidence-based, is to ask them the 3 to 5 most important things that they would need to know from this education. Now, does the quiz reflect that? If not, revise them as needed. At this time, I would like to thank you for all the efforts. They're greatly appreciated. You're setting national standards for ambulatory care, and be proud of the work that you're doing. Thank you.